So I just want to talk a little bit about Manasahotra Mountain. Manasahotra Mountain is where, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the sun orbits. Earth being a 4 billion mile wide disk where the planets and all the stars actually orbit above. So mana means mind, or it can mean psyche. So this is how we figure out the psyche, the mind of the universe, the logic of the universe, how everything functions and works. So, Manasotra Mountain, Mind Mountain. We have north, east, south, west. 4 directions representing the four-headed Brahma. Brahma is the personification of intelligence, so intelligence is acknowledging these 4 directions and these 4 elements. In the north is Chandra, Indra's in the east, Yamaraj in the south, Varuna in the west. These 4 directions, 4 demigods, all control 4 elements, which is air, fire, earth, and water. These 4, well actually 5 elements, including ether, but these 4 elements go on within the ether, so I'm only going to talk about these 4 elements. We have these 4 elements going on within the ether, and these are the ingredients of the universe. The universe doesn't have any more ingredients than this. Everything is based on these 4 universal principles, these 4 elements. So air, fire, earth, water, all have a particular nature. So this is how the modes of nature are working. Each of these 4 elements control 3 parts of the sky. So the air signs are Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Fire signs Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. These are the 12 zodiac signs. And if we want to know how they are laid out in the sky, we need an egg timer. Have a think about that actually, it's interesting. Starting Aries, the new year, the signs of the zodiac always starts in the east every year. 21st of March. So we want to find out the signs of the zodiac. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Gemini, Pisces. These are the 12 signs of the zodiac. And that is a Vedic chart based on Bhu-mandala and the 4 directions on a flat, stationary plane. All astrology is done as the earth being stationary and fixed. And in this understanding, it's a flat, stationary disk. There are 4 houses, that's a Vedic chart. So this is how our bodies are created. They're actually created. Anyone who wants to understand themselves or the psychological makeup in nature can do an astrological chart, and it will tell them their actual makeup, because everything works to these 4 principles. Right, they're the relationships between the signs. See how they're creating triangles in the sky. 12 divisions, all controlling our psyche, the psyche of the universe. There is 9 planets involved in all this, which all these elements actually control. Moon being in Leo, Cancer, Sun being in Leo. Mercury controls Virgo, Gemini. Venus controls Libra, Taurus. Aries is Mars. Sag and Pisces is Jupiter. Capricorn, Aquarius is Saturn. So remember, in the Vedic system, the planets are stacked on top of each other above the earth. The earth is the foundation. It's a fixed solid disk, 4 billion miles across, roughly 50 million miles wide. And the universe goes on above that disk. The earth is the foundation, the fixed solid foundation of all that. So when it comes to Sankhya philosophy, we're talking about these 5 elements. We also have mind, intelligence, and false ego, which is another 3 of those elements. We have the hearing, sight, touch, taste, smell. We have the senses, which creates our material body. So we have the five senses, we have the five sense elements, we have mind, intelligence, false ego, and we have the five elements. This is Sankhya. So our bodies, this disc is creating our mind, intelligence, false ego, and also our material bodies, gross bodies. So the moon's controlling the mind, Leo's controlling the intelligence and ego, Rahu's controlling the false ego, Mercury the hearing, Venus the sight, Mars touch, taste and smell. So it just goes around like this. You can basically work out how the planets are actually controlling and creating our mind, intelligence, false ego and material body. So all this is going on by controlling the light, because the zodiac is all controlled by the sun. The Kala chakra is controlled by the sun. So if we want to understand light, we need to understand the sun, which is the fire signs. Aries being red, Leo being yellow, Sagittarius being blue. These are your three primary colours. Can't get away from that. Also, this triangle you see here is the sign for the solar plexus. Secondary colours, orange, green and purple. Obviously, orange is a combination of yellow and red. Green is a combination of these two. Purple is a combination of these two. This is where the 7 planets come from. This is where the 7 light spectrums come from. This is where the 7 chakras come from. All from this Psyche mountain, mind mountain. Starting in Aries, starting with Indra. Everything always starts with Indra, being the thunderbolt is the starter. Start of the new year. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple is the light spectrum and is the 7 colours of the rainbow. The only one we're missing is indigo, which is a combination of blue and purple. So indigo is represented by Yamaraj over in Capricorn, signifying the end. The start of the light spectrum is Indra, the end of the light spectrum is Yamaraj, all coming from the sun, creating the 7 planets. So this is Vayu Purana, the actual sun creates the 7 planets. And these represent the 7 chakras. So the only other light we have is the moon, which is white light, and we have Rahu, which is shadow. So you can't have light without shadow. That's why Rahu comes into everything. Right, so I'll show you how this represents the chakras. Just add the 12 musical notes, which represent the 12 signs of the zodiac and the 12 months of the year. They line up perfectly with the frequencies of the chakras. So we have the planets controlling these chakras through light frequency, which is also creating our gross and subtle bodies. That's how the light spectrums of the planets and the light spectrums of the chakras, and that's where light comes from. So this is Jyotish, the science of light. This is where all light comes from. All light, all this concept, all this knowledge is coming from Bhu-mandala. She's sacred, she's very special. The information she can give us is just like far superior to anything you can understand from the globe model. The globe model will teach you nothing. This Vedic understanding, Sankhya, and the 5 elements will just open up all knowledge for you. So they're the representative of the... You can always pause this and look at it. I'm just going to sweep through. So there you have it. We know this prism, when we put white light through a prism, we get the 7 light spectrums, and that's represented by that, all extracted from Manasa Mountain. Musical relationships, so there are your 12 notes, these are your chords, or these are the planets and the chakras expressed as chords. Anyone has anything to do with music, A is A, C sharp and E, B is B, D sharp and F sharp. So that's base, moon, sun, heart, throat, crown, third eye, and crown chakra. This is how all the planets are moving within the sky, and all these frequencies are affecting material nature, 12 modes of nature. 3 modes of material nature, moving through the 4 elements and the 12 signs of the zodiac. So the only note we don't get represented here in this understanding is A sharp, which is actually the second house, which represents Taurus. And Taurus has a lot to do with the energy field and how all this is moving, but I'll get to that in the next video probably. So just remember that A sharp, Taurus. There's your relationships between your relative minors. Just a quick one, but that's just basically base chakras. Relative minor to C is A minor. Relative minor to D sharp is C minor. Relative minor to F sharp is D sharp minor. E flat's the same note. Like that. So all music, all light, or frequency, or vibration comes from Bhu-mandala, comes from this mind mountain. Light, just as a side point, the actual demigods are made of light. They have light bodies. They don't have gross bodies like we do. That's why they can travel from Meru out to Manasa Mountain. They're basically, it's like a light bridge where they can just move back and forth. And they can actually simultaneously be on Meru and be on Manasa Mountain because it's just a projection of light. They can appear anywhere, being demigods. So back to the 4 universal principles. You cannot get away from these principles. Fire is hot, water is wet, earth is fixed and immovable. So this is another proof of the flat earth model, because if earth, the nature of earth is to be fixed, solid, heavy, firm, immovable, the foundation, the earth is the basis to all this, and all the stars and planets, basically the mind of the universe is going on above this fixed foundation. And you just cannot get away from these 4 principles no matter what you do. This is how the universe is made. This is how the universe is built up. So Earth, due to displacement, can sit on water. And that's how it is sitting. We have the egg of the universe, half filled with water, and Bhu-mandala is sat on that water. So if you understand how displacement works, it makes complete sense. The earth sits flat on water. Water needs to be contained by the earth. Water cannot stick to a ball upside down. That's not the nature of water. And it's not the nature of earth to be floating in space. So this is what Newton was observing, these 4 universal principles, these elemental principles. Gravity, grave, means heavy. Gravity, Yamraj, we're talking about the Lord of Death. Everything made of matter, material, earth, goes down. Everything made of air or lighter than air goes up. So simply in the Vedic system we have an up and a down. And that's proven by these elemental principles. Earth has to be the foundation, and it has to be fixed and immovable. And it can't be a ball pointing in all different directions. It has to be a flat foundation that all this goes on around. And all this is going on around Meru and the Dhruva pole star. The whole star system moves around the pole star above the fixed stationary Earth. Fire representing the sun. Fire moves. It creates heat and light, but fire moves. It is movable. Earth isn't movable. Fire is movable. Therefore, the sun actually orbits around Manasahotra mountain daily. 760 million miles, I think, is his daily orbit. 24 hours, full 360 degrees. So you can't break these principles. You cannot get around the fact that Earth is fixed and immovable. Earth doesn't float in air. It cannot float in air. It can float in water due to displacement, but it cannot float in air. Water has to sit within the earth, on the earth, contained by the earth. And water will always lay flat, perfectly horizontal. Because in the Vedic system, everything's all planes. You have the earth plane, you have the water plane, then you have the sun plane, the moon plane, and you have all the planets stacked on top, all orbiting above, which I'll get to in other videos. But the basic principle is these 4 elements, unbreakable principles. This is the ingredients of the universe. It makes up our psyches, it makes up all material energy, comes from a combination of these 4, also mixed with the ether. But the ether is more like space. So the principle is these 4 elements you cannot get away from. So this is Sankhya. So Manasa Mountain, Psyche Mountain.